I don't even know, like I'm drinking wine and water because I need to balance myself. This video is not sponsored by Wombles. However, I remain open to collaboration.
They call me childish. They call me the Holy Ghost, Son of the Most, Father, they don't know me.
Cheeky! Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. A couple of days ago, my worst fear finally came to pass. I say finally because I've been on Twitter for like 10 years now. Jesus Christ, I've been on Twitter for a decade. And I've been talking a lot of shit for those 10 years. Of course, I've had my little run-ins, but nothing to this extent, okay? I was dragged by ZIM Twitter, called every broke, not target market ugly. I don't know what that has to do with anything in the book, and live to tell the tale. What was my crime, you ask? Well, I merely pointed out that Zimbabwe has taken overpricing over the top. And I specified it to this particular restaurant that I had been at that night. Story time. On Saturday evening, went to Wombles with my in-loves, had a great dinner. This is not the first time that I've been to Wombles. I've been there quite a few times actually. But this is the first time that I critiqued the bill. Why? For starters, I saw some price changes that I didn't understand. Okay. Secondly, this was one of the few times where the bill could not be justified by alcohol consumption. Why? Because the only alcohol that was had was one $6 Savannah and one $35 bottle of wine. Usually when we go there, there's people having double Glens, double gins. By people, I mean my husband and I, all that and the other, and bottles of wine. So you can understand, because obviously alcohol is very expensive on joints like this, and it adds more to the bill. Like, it's alcohol is usually what brings a bill to, you know, but on this occasion that wasn't the case. So I decided to look deeper into the bill and see what these markups and price changes are saying. Hence the tweet. I merely stated that I cannot understand 400% markups on certain products. That's all. That's all, folks. Listen, I'm no alien to fine dining. I know that restaurants definitely have to cover their overheads, you know, account for the satisfaction and the ambiance, as the comment section wanted to remind me, and also, you know, the convenience of getting things like the Savannah, etc., etc. I know all of that. However, at what point does it become exploitative? Or does it never? Because fine dining, even if maybe 80%, I estimate, of your ingredients are locally sourced, no, it can't be overpriced because fine dining. Even in an economy that's currently facing 132% inflation, can't be, it doesn't affect fine dining, huh? Who are inflating USD prices. It doesn't affect them. Okay. Cool. It's worth it because ambiance. They're never exploitative because it's fine dining. Don't be a stupid. Jesus. Now, I keep putting fine dining in quotes because, like I said, I'm no alien to fine dining, and I don't know if I would put Wombles in that category. I think they have great food, great service, definitely, you know, high end, especially for ZIM. But fine dining, I'll probably say it's like a premium steakhouse. Do I think they have great quality? Definitely. Fine dining, you'd have to convince me a little bit on that. And maybe that's part of the reason why the $35 to $40 mains with $2 sides did not sit quite right with me. Nor did the $500 bill, but we move. Oh yeah, and also I should clarify, it was for 5 people. But at this point, I assume that people have seen the tweet and they know exactly what I'm talking about. If not, then I'll put a link to it below. let's make a comparative analysis because y'all know I love those. One of the best restaurants that I've been in South Africa is the Test Kitchen, and their pricing is about 3,000 Rand for a tasting menu, and that's when it comes with wine pairing. And then without the wine pairing, it's about 2,000, which would be about 130. It'll be around $130, $135 at today's rate. Are we saying that the Test Kitchen is comparable to Wombles? Because a lot of people in the comments are saying, yeah, you can expect to budget $100 per person at Wombles. That's normal. Are we saying that the Test Kitchen and Wombles are that close in experience and taste and fine diningness? A restaurant that was ranked 44th in Africa equals Wombles. And I know you have to account for, imported goods and different types of overheads in both jurisdictions, but balance me, okay? Like some days, just let's put our mind to work a little bit. And this isn't even taking into account that the Test Kitchen's menu is a tasting menu, so that means it's been calibrated by the chef to be a full culinary experience from start to finish. Whereas the Wombles menu is an a la carte menu, and it's not uniquely experimental in the flavors and tastes or anything like that. And also not even taking into account other restaurants that are also ranked much better than Wombles and much, much cheaper than Wombles, where they're doing $14 steaks instead of $40 steaks. I mean, come on. I could rest there, but let's take it to America itself, okay? Since we're pretty much a USD economy. Because I had time. I did my research. Of course, fine dining prices will always differ. Dramatically, actually. And that will depend on the cost of living in different cities. For example, you can't expect, Connecticut to have the same prices as New York City, which is also essential for ZIM. And it will also depend on whether things have Michelin stars or not, all that kind of things. But according to Business Insiders, you can expect to spend an average $71 per person at Captain Grill and $69 at Fleming Steakhouse. So Wombles average beats out those two. Okay, that's fine. But they have one of those is in Washington, by the way. And we're talking about America, where they have actual overheads, such as minimum wage for waiters. Now listen, I don't know how much Wombles pays their waiters, and I don't purport to know. All I'm saying is, if we're equating two things in that way, I would expect it to be around the $1,000 mark, but this is also Zimbabwe, so do with that information what you will. My point here is not at all, and I don't want it to be misconstrued, my point here is not at all to bash Wombles. Their food is great. Their service is great. I made sure to say that in the tweet, and people were even angry about that, to say, oh, how can you say their food is great and still complain about the price? Things can be good and still be overpriced. Can we understand that two things can be right at the same time? Or do we have to start from the beginning? Come on. What I am saying is that they have also fallen into the trap of overpricing and normalizing abnormal things in this economy, okay? They're not the only ones, but they're, I would argue, part of that system. And the normalizing of abnormality is to the extent that the actual victims of this 400% markup will come to you, me, talking about you're not the target market. Okay, remember you're not the target market when petrol prices are going up and you're complaining about those because you're not the target market for driving, okay? And maybe you're not the target market for bread, so make it chimodo. I understand those are commodities, this is luxury, etc. But if you think that those things don't affect people's pricing when it comes to fine dining, then listen, some of these things I can't teach. That was the other thing. I never said I can't afford it. I never said I didn't have the bill was paid, was it not? My point is, things can be good and still be overpriced, and people should be called out for exploitative pricing. And it's so funny because the people who are target market masters are probably not even the target market themselves. Like, you're busy wanting to defend the target market you don't belong in. Fam. The target market argument to me is just such a lazy argument, honestly. I could have all the money in the world. I could be Mark Zuckerberg and still know when something is overpriced. Like, I mean, we are so grateful for the bare minimum in an economy, in this economy, where, you know, the average income is at like $250 at best. In this economy with 132% inflation, in this economy where you don't necessarily have to worry about paying the global or even the regional minimum wage, and most of your ingredients are probably locally sourced, we want to justify 400% markup in the name of ambiance, and you're not the target market. Come on. You can't justify that. You can't. I'm sorry. Not in this economy. I'm sorry. And we've created this bottomless pit of consumerism that makes people think it's okay to price things at this amount. And we make it okay by justifying it and saying you're not the target market. I don't know if people thought I would fold. People thought I would cower. I remain open to being proven wrong. I remain open to being educated. But if the only argument you're going to bring to me is you're not the target market, I'm sorry, I can't take that. Like I said, I'm not bashing Wombles. It's to call out the pricing strategies that are happening within this country. And don't act like you don't know, okay? You can admit that everything else is overpriced. But no, not fine dining. But I'm not saying don't go to Wombles. Shit, I'll probably be there next week. Their food is great. Their service is great. However, they're overpriced. Go argue with your pastor.
Big old me, the Holy Ghost, Son of the Most, Father they don't